The first time she saw him, she thought he was stealing. The camera angle was low, hidden behind a ceramic lamp in her son's room. It captured the quiet rhythm of the night, the faint glow of medical monitors, the soft rise and fall of a boy who hadn't moved his limbs in 3 years, and then, a shadow. He entered slowly, almost respectfully, as if afraid to disturb the silence itself. The timestamp blinked, 2:13 a.m. Victoria Hale leaned closer to her screen, her breath tightening. No one was supposed to be there at that hour. Not even the night nurse. The man looked around, cautious but not nervous. He wasn't searching for valuables. He wasn't opening drawers or scanning the room like a thief. Instead, he walked straight to her son. And gently adjusted his blanket. Victoria froze. 3 weeks earlier, Victoria had made a decision she never imagined she would need to make. After the accident, everything in her life had split into 2 timelines, before Ethan, and after. Before, she was a powerhouse, a self-made millionaire, CEO of a growing tech company, known for her precision, control, and calculated risks. After, she was just a mother, desperate, grieving, and terrified of losing the only person she had left. Ethan had been her miracle. Born after years of failed treatments, late nights, and silent prayers. At 8 years old, he was full of laughter, curiosity, and stubborn joy. Until the accident. A careless driver. A rainy night. A phone that buzzed at the wrong time. The doctors said he was lucky to survive. Victoria didn't feel lucky. Her son couldn't speak. Couldn't move. Couldn't even blink on command. The only sign he was still there was the faintest flicker in his eyes, something only a mother could recognize. And even that, she feared losing. So she built walls. She hired the best doctors, the best therapists, and a rotation of nurses. She installed advanced security systems throughout the house. And finally, without telling anyone, not even her staff, she installed hidden cameras. Not because she didn't trust them. But because she couldn't afford to be wrong. For 2 weeks, the footage was exactly what she expected. Routine. Professional. Predictable. Nurses checking vitals. Caretakers adjusting feeding tubes. Quiet, efficient movements. Nothing unusual. Until him. His name, according to the employee file, was Daniel Reyes. A recently hired assistant caretaker, filling in for night shifts when needed. Single father. 1 daughter. No criminal record. Average references. Nothing remarkable. But the footage told a different story. Victoria watched again. 2:13 a.m. Daniel entered the room, his face tired but soft. He pulled a chair closer to Ethan's bed and sat down. "Hey, champ," he whispered. Victoria's chest tightened. No one talked to Ethan like that anymore. Not since the doctors had stopped expecting a response. Daniel didn't seem to care. "I know you probably can't hear me," he continued quietly, "but my daughter says people always hear more than we think." He smiled faintly, like he wasn't sure if he believed his own words. Then he did something that made Victoria sit upright. He took out a small, worn-out book from his pocket. And started reading. The next night, she watched again. 2:10 a.m. He came earlier this time. Same chair. Same soft voice. A different story. He changed Ethan's position carefully, speaking to him through every movement. "I'm gonna turn you a little, okay? Don't worry, I got you." His touch was gentle. Not clinical. Not rushed. Human. Victoria felt something unfamiliar stir inside her chest. Guilt. She watched every night after that. Daniel never missed a shift without leaving a note for the next caretaker, reminding them to play Ethan's favorite music, to open the curtains in the morning, to talk to him like he's listening. But it wasn't just his work that caught her attention. It was the small things. One night, Daniel brought a tiny toy car and placed it on the bedside table. "My kid insisted," he said with a chuckle. "She said every boy needs something cool in his room." Another night, he gently wiped Ethan's face and whispered, "You're doing better than you think, buddy. I can feel it." Victoria paused the footage. "How?" she whispered to herself. "How can you feel something doctors can't?" Days turned into weeks. And something began to change. Not in Ethan. But in her. She found herself watching the recordings not out of suspicion, but anticipation. Waiting for those quiet moments. Waiting for someone to treat her son not like a patient, but like a person. Then one night, everything shifted. The timestamp read 2:47 a.m. Daniel sat beside Ethan, quieter than usual. No book. No soft stories. Just silence. Then, after a long pause, he spoke. "My daughter asked me something today," he said, his voice heavier than before. "She asked why I spend so much time with a boy who can't talk back." Victoria leaned closer. "I told her, because kindness isn't about getting something in return." He swallowed hard. "I told her that sometimes, people just need someone to believe they're still there." Victoria felt her eyes blur. "And if I ever stopped believing that, I'd be the one who's lost, not him." He reached out and gently held Ethan's hand. "I believe you're still fighting, champ. Don't prove me wrong, okay?" The next morning, Victoria didn't check emails. She didn't take calls. Instead, she sat beside her son. For the first time in months, without fear. She took his hand. "I'm here," she whispered. Her voice broke. "I'm sorry I stopped talking to you like you could hear me." A tear slid down her cheek. "I'm sorry I gave up before you did." That evening, she did something even more unexpected. She asked to meet Daniel. He stood awkwardly in her office, clearly unsure why the millionaire owner of the house wanted to see him. "Is everything okay, ma'am?" he asked. Victoria studied him. This man who had unknowingly changed something she thought was broken forever. "You read to my son," she said simply. Daniel blinked. Yes, ma'am. I hope that's not." "Why?" The question caught him off guard. He hesitated. "Because I'd want someone to do the same for my daughter," he said finally. "If she ever needed it." Victoria nodded slowly. "And you believe he can hear you?" Daniel smiled softly. "I don't know if he can," he admitted. "But I know what it means to be ignored." Silence filled the room. Then Victoria did something no one expected. She offered him a full-time position. Not just as a caretaker, but as someone she trusted. Months passed. And something incredible happened. One afternoon, as Daniel read aloud and Victoria sat nearby, Ethan's finger twitched. It was small. Barely noticeable. But it was real. Victoria gasped. Daniel froze. "Did you see that?" she whispered. He nodded, eyes wide. "I told you," he said softly, a quiet smile breaking through. "He's still fighting." Recovery wasn't instant. It wasn't easy. But it began. And with it, something else grew. Hope. Years later, Victoria would often think back to that night. The night she thought she caught a thief. Instead, she found something far more valuable. A man who reminded her that love isn't measured in control, money, or surveillance. It's measured in presence. In patience. In believing, even when there's no proof. And sometimes, it takes a stranger's kindness to teach us how to love the people we thought we were already loving enough. Because in the quietest moments, when no one is watching, That's where the real miracles begin.